going on, everyone? Steph here, and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be talking what it is like being a sugar addict and why we are addicted to different types of sweet or sugary food. And though it doesn't sound much worse than being called an alcoholic or a drug addict, we still couldn't change the fact that when a person has an addiction, no matter what kind of addiction it is, we all know that it's never going to be a good thing. Don't get me wrong, we all love the sweet stuff. We all have our own favorite treats, and we crave the sweetness that those food bring us. But when we indulge with those sweets too much, often from time to time, we allow ourselves to seek for more of it. As you all know, sugar is the only addictive substance that is not illegal, that can still be quite as addictive, dangerous, and have similar effects on the brain as street drugs, especially when taken as excess. It is literally being called a getaway drug because, kidding aside, sugar releases opioids and dopamine in our bodies that can make us feel more hyper than usual. In fact, drugs produce intense euphoria, and they also produce much larger surge of dopamine. So taking drugs will equal to consuming a large amount of sugar. Once dopamine levels surge, it will result in a pleasure effect that when you consume a large amount of it, you will become sugar high, which will produce trisness, spasms, and hyperexcitability. Clearly, you cannot only get high when you smoke pot, but when you eat too much sugar as well. I am only kidding, but for real though, once you experience an intense and overwhelming desire to still consume and indulge in something sweet multiple times a day, that's when you start listening to voice in your head like, you need to pick me up, or just a little bit won't hurt every time you are in front of sweet. But then again, you ended up picking a lot more, which in the end would only cause some pretty harsh consequences for your health, which is definitely a no-no, because love, too much of it, can certainly kill you. Speaking of love, can I also say that sugar immediately sends little signals to our brain, which make it release the so-called love drug, or as I have mentioned, dopamine. This is what makes us crave sugar even more, which makes us likely to eat more of it, even when we are not hungry. Admit it, you might even have joked around in the past that you are addicted to candies, a cake, or an ice cream, and it might be true at some point. But if you are still addicted to a bunch of sweets nowadays, then I'll tell you, go inside your room right now and lock yourself for a month or two without ever watching anything that might break your craving up, so you won't let yourself be exposed too much in the kitchen, and so you won't open the refrigerator door each time you are craving for something sweet. Okay, if you really need sweetness in your life that much, then go and find a partner and be sweet to each other. I mean, all joke aside, just don't let yourself eat too much of any sugary foods, because it's a lot and it's harmful to you. It's not really just that your favorite cakes or ice cream are that addictive, but it is the amount of sugar and the fatty foods that are in it that will cause similar response in our bodies, like a certain illegal drugs as cocaine. I know those favorite sweets and treats of yours are highly enjoyable and fun to consume, and it tastes so good, but one should never consume too much, as the recommended sugar intake per day, which is about 12 teaspoons for an adult that has a healthy mass index. If you are truly sugar addicted, then stopping will seem really hard. The first thing to do is to recognize that your addiction is real and be aware of the voice in your head that are making you want to consume lots of sweet. And if it's too much, you will know right away and your body will take the hit that what you are consuming is too much. Once you realize and become aware of the amount of sugar you put into your body, it becomes easier to judge at that moment whether or not you will continue the habit, which would of course cause you more harm. Or finally, you will allow yourself to say no and possibly eliminating the excess sugar. Do not consume more than what's recommended for a day. The main takeaway for me is pretty clear. If you know yourself that you consume too much and are inclined to indulge in more treats, then eat sweet rarely and cautiously. You can also try to do a sugar detox, which will allow you to restrict any sugary foods to eat until you feel healthy again. I will talk more about sugar detox in my next video, because otherwise there is plenty reason that your brain will start to demand more and more foods that are high in sugar more often than not, which will make you become addicted and health problems will soon arise. So if you don't want to end up with your body or your life going downhill, then stop with your sugar addiction as early as you can, before you end up regretting your choices later. So guys, that's all for you today. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like and share. See you for my next video.